Buongiorno and welcome to Pasta My Heart, where everybody feels at home here. I'm Brenda, and today we're going to be making some preserves with some wonderful North Carolina blueberries. I went home a couple of days ago specifically to get some blueberries from southeastern North Carolina, where we're from, and bring them back here to our home in Virginia so I could make some preserves and some jams and some syrups and just put up some amazing blueberry pie filling to make some hand pies later on this week and put in the freezer. And we're going to try to get this all accomplished today. We're going to see. To begin with, I started sterilizing my jelly jars. So I've got jelly jars and lids in here. What I'll do is I'll bring my water canner up to a boil, and once it starts boiling, I'm going to turn it off and just let my jars sit with the lids in there. So that way they're good and sterilized for the preserves that we're going to put in. Now, my recipe calls for 10 cups of beautiful blueberries that have been washed. Make sure there's no yuckies in there, and they're ready to cook down. Oh, I love fresh blueberries. So I'm going to get those. It does call for, we're doing 10 cups, so it calls for 6 cups of sugar, 2 tablespoons of lemon zest, because we're actually making lemon blueberry preserves today. So 2 tablespoons of lemon zest, which is about 3 of these. I'm going to put some lemon juice in there, about a third a cup of lemon juice. We're going to cook all this down. We're going to make it really thickened up, and then we're going to place them in our jars. We're going to water can them, water bath them, and then we're going to have some beautiful blueberry preserves. So let's get started. Okay, so to our pot, we're going to place about half of these blueberries in here. And as you're cleaning your blueberries, like here's one I missed, I'm going to get rid of it. You want to make sure that you're not including any really, really super soft ones or any that are like damaged, in, try to catch those as much as possible. Let me put a few more in there. So as we're putting in half of this, we're going to add we're gonna mush them up a little bit. Let me get my potato musher. Y'all call it a potato masher or a potato musher? All right, so we're going to just break these up a little bit, not much, just to kind of get some of their juices flowing, so that way it'll all come together with the syrup, with the sugar and the lemon juice and all of that, so we can get things going. As we cook this, it's going to break down, and as we add the whole berries, they're going to start bursting. All right, so we've crushed a few of these just to get some juice going. Because remember, we're not adding anything other than the berries, a little bit of lemon juice, lemon zest, and some sugar. So it's the juice of the berries that we're going to use to make sure that it gets liquefied. Okay, so to that, we're going to stir in the other half of the berries, the sugar and the salt and the lemon zest. We're just going to put all of that in there. And then we're going to turn it on about a medium heat, and we're going to cover with the lid for a few minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my burner to about a medium heat, and I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of my blueberries without the water that is drained. Okay, now we're going to add our 6 cups of sugar. I'm not a big sugar person. I love using honey in place of sugars. But when it comes to making preserves and jams and pie fillings, you're going to have to do that. Now, I don't use regular processed white sugar. I buy organic the organic sugar it has been processed some, but not like our completely white sugar. So that's 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let me turn this down some more. I already hear it. Okay, and then we're going to add our lemon juice. This is a third cup of lemon juice, and I'll put the recipe down below so y'all can have it too. That's our lemon juice, and then we're going to zest these lemons. When you zest, You don't want to get any of that white pithy skin, second layer. So you don't want to press hard. That's not the goal. The goal is just get the top layer off of the lemon. So I don't know if you can see that. My lighting's not very well, but you don't want to use that white part. It'll make it bitter. And we don't want bitter. We just want a beautiful taste of fresh lemons. Now the recipe calls for 2 tablespoons. And since these are kind of small lemons, I'm going to use 3 lemons zested to equal that. I mean, I'm not going to complain if I can taste a little more lemon than what the recipe calls for. You know, I love lemons. My husband, he makes from scratch, mainly because I think sometimes he has more patience in cooking than I do. But he makes a wonderful lemon dessert that has like cream cheese and lemons and, well, it's kind of like a lemon cheesecake because it's got a graham cracker crust. And when he makes it, he has to make 2 pans, one for me and the one that everybody else wants. Okay, so we're going to cover this pot now. Make sure it's on about a medium heat. And we're going to let it just kind of sweat those juices out of those blueberries until it completely dissolves all the sugar, everything's smooth. And then we're going to test it to see if it's thick enough to gel on its own. So we're going to cook it like this for about, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. And then the last 10 minutes, we're going to take the lid off. And we're going to stir constantly to get it to thicken. And we'll be back in a few minutes. So I have been cooking this down for the last 35 minutes, and we're gonna see if it's ready. If it's not, then we're gonna keep cooking it down until it gels on my plate. So I took a small plate, put it in the freezer so it's nice and cold. We're gonna take just a little bit of our mixture, just a little bit. We're gonna pour it on our plate. We're gonna let it sit there for a second. We're gonna let it sit. We're going to see if it runs. That's pretty thick. It's not really running that much. Let's taste it. Oh my goodness. Ooh, that's good. That's really good. But we're going to let it cook just a little bit more. I wanted it to gel a little bit thicker. So I'm going to rinse my plate off. I'm going to stick it back in the freezer so it's nice and cold. And I'm going to continue to cook this down for maybe another, we'll go with 5 minutes, and then we'll see if it hardens up. We've cooked it an additional 7 minutes. I've been stirring it. We're going to try again and see if we are at the point where we can put it in some jars. We're going to let it sit for just a second to cool down, and then we're going to do our test and see. Look at that. Beautiful. I say we're ready to put it in some jars, wouldn't you? I'm going to take these out of my water bath canner. They've been sterilized. I just need to get them out on the towels. And then we're going to ladle in our preserves, our blueberry lemon preserves, and get them ready to go back in the canner so that we can process them and then have enough for hopefully those great winter nights that I want to have some blueberry preserves on something. Okay, I've got our jars out. They've all been sterilized. I put our preserves close by so we can ladle them out into the jars. Then we're gonna get them back in there and get them processed. I'm excited. You know, one of the things about when you do canning is there's such a neat sense of accomplishment for me. And then to know that my family's gonna really enjoy this. We're gonna leave about 1 inch in each jar up near the top because you don't want to fill it too round. And sometimes I've learned, especially when doing preserves and jellies, doing pie filling, anything like that, in the processing, they sometimes overflow. And they'll be perfectly sealed, but your jars will be all yucky. And that's okay. Because you can wipe them off, you can wash them off, and have them all set ready to put on your pantry shelf. I'd love to know in the comments below, do you do preserves? Do you do jellies and jams? And if you do you have a really cool recipe that is different from this one? I'd love to try it. A couple weeks ago, when strawberries were in season, I took 2 of my granddaughters and we went and picked strawberries, and then we made strawberry preserves, and they were wonderful. They're 7 and 11, and so I had them cutting strawberries and helping stir and getting them in the jars. You know, one of the things I love doing is passing down to the next generation things that they may do one day. At least get them taught. Voila, I think. With my scraper here, we may be able to get that one pretty close to the top and call it 12 jars. So now the next step in what we're going to do, since I won't need these, we'll leave these. I'm going to grab a paper towel. I like to be particular getting my jars ready to go back into the warm water. So I have right here just some plain white vinegar, and I like to take my paper towel and we're going to wipe the edges before we put the lids on. And the reason I do this is to make sure that I don't have any jelly on the lid, anything that's going to come between that seal and that glass jar. So I wipe it real good. I also wipe my lids, and then we're going to set one here. We're going to go around. It also gives you a chance to make sure that none of these jars have a chip on them. And you know, also sometimes when you water bath, they won't seal correctly. And if they don't, then there's a couple things you can do in a water bath canner. You can always try to reseal it again, doing this same process over again, wiping the jar lids, getting the new seal, but making sure everything is clean, everything is good, and then reprocessing it. Or sometimes we just like to take the unsealed jars and stick them in the refrigerator and enjoy a jar of fresh preserves. Okay, so now that we've got our lids on, they're wiped off. You don't want to screw these lids on really tight, these rings. You want to do it what we call finger tight, which is just a little bit, very gently. That way, the seals will work like they're supposed to. So out of 6 cups of blueberries, we got 12 half-pint jars, jelly jars of preserves. All right, so we're gonna get these back in our water bath canner. We're gonna bring it up to a boil, and then we're gonna process these for 10 minutes. And at the end of the 10 minutes, we're going to turn the burner off, take the lid off of the canner, and let them sit there for another maybe minute or two, up to 5 minutes I do, just to kind of get myself all ready. And then we're gonna get them out, and we're gonna let them sit for 24 hours, and then we'll have our 12 jars done. The next one we're gonna do is blueberry pie filling, and we're gonna jar it up in pint jars. So let's get these going. Okay, So mine will put 9 jars in there comfortably. You don't want to pack them too tight in your canner because you want them to have room in between to do what they're supposed to do. Make sure everything is covered in water, that there are no lids exposed, everything is submerged. We're gonna turn this back up to high. I'm gonna put the lid on it. But I'm not gonna start the timer until this starts boiling, ready to go. And then we're just gonna leave it boiling and we're gonna set our timer for 10 minutes. Okay, so we have water bathed these jars for the last 10 minutes. I just got them out, and I'm gonna be honest with you. There is nothing more satisfying than as you're pulling out jars to hear the lids pop, because then you know they're good and sealed. I have put in our water bath canner the additional 3 jars. They haven't started boiling yet, and these are really hot. So I'm gonna pick this up. But look at this, isn't this gorgeous? So we ended up with 12 jars of blueberry preserves out of 6 cups of blueberries. Our next recipe is going to be blueberry pie filling, and we'll start processing that in a little while.